book haul / in my mailbox for you. I have quite a few books to show you. This isn't even all of the books that I've acquired recently. I just don't seem to have enough time to record the hauls, put up the hauls along with other videos, really. But I'll start with the books that I very kindly received for review. The first few books that I have is a trilogy, and this is very kindly sent to me from Piatkus, which is an imprint of Little Brown. And they very kindly sent me the Love by Numbers series by Sarah MacLean, which is a Regency romance trilogy. It's a very popular trilogy. It has been published before. This is basically just a re-release. That's why they've sent me all three. And they were published on the 1st of May. So the first book is 9 Rules to Break When Romancing a Rake. Then I have 10 Ways to be Adored When Landing a Lord. And then I have 11 Scandals to Start to Win a Duke's Heart. And I have actually read all 3 of these. I went through sort of a reading slump-ish type thing where I didn't know what to read, and so I just literally read all 3 of them really close together. Really enjoyed them. Really recommend them if you enjoy Regency romance. The next book that I have is from Random House. Really excited for this one, guys. Like, I can't even tell you. Let's just see. This was published on the 24th of April, and it's The Fearless by Emma Pass. If you guys have been following my channel for a while, I read Acid by her last year. It was her debut novel, and I absolutely loved it. It was a dystopian, and this sounds the same sort of thing. It just sounds so good. Acid was one of my favourite reads last year, one of my favourite reads ever. It has a very short blurb. I don't normally read blurbs because they take up so much time, but I have to read you this. The night the Fearless swept through the country, they stole everything from me. My parents, my home, my childhood, my future. They felt no compassion. They showed no mercy. I have one person left in the world. I won't let them take my brother. Love the sound of this, guys. If it's anything like Acid, it will be phenomenal. And I'm really looking forward to checking this one out. Then the last book that I'm going to show you that I received for review is The Forever Song by Julie Kagawa. This is the 3rd and final book in the Blood of Eden series. And I really enjoyed The Immortal Rules. I haven't read The Eternity Cure. I keep meaning to. But yeah, now that I have this, I'll probably pick up the second one in the near future. What really irritates me about this series, though, is that it doesn't look like a series. If you compare all the book covers across the series, they don't look like they relate to each other in any way, shape or form. I really liked the first book's cover. Wasn't fussed about the second book's cover. Really don't like this cover. It's just so boring. So boring. If I saw this, if I didn't know anything about the series and I just saw this book on the shelf, I would not pick it up because it's so boring. Like, it's just so dull. I can't even explain how dull I find the cover for this book. And I don't normally get like that with book covers. It's very rare that I feel so strongly about a book cover, but I really don't like it. So there's that. On to the books that I bought. There are some pre-orders in this pile, some not. They're kind of all over the place, so I'll just pick them out at random. First book is one that you will have already seen. You would have seen it in a Friday Reads video. I should reiterate that. My only Friday Reads video. As well as my April wrap-up, and that's Dreams of Gods and Monsters by Laini Taylor. I had this on pre-order. You guys know that. Already read it. It was phenomenal. Like, it brings a tear to my eye to think how beautiful this book is. And like I showed in my Friday Reads, it is a special edition that has the image of Karoo that Laini Taylor herself drew, and her signature. It's just I was dying for this book, so as soon as I could pre-order it, I pre-ordered it, obviously, because it's like amazing. So yeah, there's that. And then sort of connected to Laini Taylor, sort of not. This is another one that I pre-ordered, and that is In the Shadows by Kirsten White and Jim DiBartolo. I say it's connected to Laini Taylor because Jim DiBartolo is actually Laini Taylor's husband, and he illustrated her Lips Touched Three Times short story anthology. So I already knew that I really liked his artwork. And this is a book that's told in both like graphic novel and text. It sort of varies between the two. And like that's just an idea of like some of the images there. And I don't think I've read a book where it's split between text and images. I mean, there's not even any speech bubbles. It's literally just images. So I'm really interested. It's a really high quality book. It's really heavy. It has super high gloss paper. It's really, really beautiful. Love the cover. And I was really just gonna buy it for those reasons, really. Yeah. Okay. A book that's a little bit different than what I normally pick up, and that is The Book of You by Claire Kendall. I first saw this on Deborah's Book Cafe. She hauled it and she read the blurb and it just sort of stuck with me. It's a psychological thriller, an adult psychological thriller, which is not something I would normally pick up. But it's about a woman that's being stalked, and she's then called up for jury service, and for her it's a relief. It's an escape for the day. She's safe in a courtroom away from her stalker. But the stalking escalates before it obviously reaches its climax. It was different. You'll hear more about it in my wrap up. But I love, you probably won't see, but it has like neon end papers. It's really nice. I bought this on Amazon. It was like £5. It's really quite reasonable. It should be 13 because it's a UK hardback. But yeah, you'll hear more about that in my wrap up as I have already read it. Then I bought Overbite by Meg Cabot. This is the sequel to Insatiable, which is her adult vampire. I don't know if it's a series or duology. Not sure. I haven't read Insatiable, but I thought I'd pick up Overbite because I kind of needed it because I already have Insatiable. Then I had this on pre-order, and that's Rush Too Far by Abby Glines. This is basically Fallen Too Far in Rush's point of view, the guy's point of view. I really like the Fallen Too Far trilogy. It's like one of my favourite new adult series. But in book 1 you only had the girl's point of view, which is Blair. In books 2 and 3 you had alternating perspectives. So yeah, we didn't have Rush's point of view for the first book. So I'm glad it's been released. Really pisses me off, excuse my language, that it doesn't match my editions. I have the sort of the first editions of the other trilogy, and now they've changed. They've re-released the trilogy in these smaller, like normal size paperbacks, and this doesn't match what I have, which is really irritating. Because if I had waited I would have got these, but obviously I didn't because I liked the series, so I bought them as soon as they came out. So it's just really irritating. Another pre-order that I have, I wish that it arrived last month so that it could be in my book haul from last month, but it just didn't. It took ages to actually arrive. And that's Dorothy Must Die, and this is by Danielle Page. I've been hearing a lot of really good things about this. I love that it's sort of a reimagining of, or like a sequel to The Wizard of Oz, a really dark, twisted sequel to The Wizard of Oz, in that Dorothy has gone back to Oz and she's gone mad with power and she's evil, and so this other girl from Kansas called Amy is recruited to basically save Oz and kill Dorothy. So I really like the premise of this. I've heard a lot of good things. Yeah, I love this cover as well, so really looking forward to checking that out at some point. Then I picked up Temptation by Karen Ann Hopkins. This is one that has been on my wishlist for a really, really long time and I just never bought. It's a young adult contemporary romance. It's basically a bit like a Romeo and Juliet story, in that, you know, two youngsters sort of meet. But the difference here is that Noah is Amish and Rose is not, and it's whether they can be together or not. This is a trilogy. If I like this one, I'll pick up the other books soon. And then the last book that I have to show you is White Space by Ilsa J. Bick. I had not heard of this book at all until I saw it on Charlie's channel, Do They Day Devours. She hauled it and I thought, that sounds amazing. I love the sound of that so much. I looked at reviews and it's rare that this happens, but this book has far more negative reviews than it has positive. So that's really daunting going into this book because it's a beastly book. It is 551 pages, so the fact that it's got so many negative reviews from so many people, but I won't read the blurb because it's quite long, but the idea is that it's questioning the lines between what is real and what is not, in regards to fictional characters. Are they fictional characters? Are we characters that somebody is writing? It just sounds really interesting. I'll just read the end here. It says, the question then becomes, is she real? Are the others, or are they just characters who have all fallen between the lines into white space? And can they escape before someone pens their end? It just sounds really, really different, and the idea intrigues me a lot. And I really like this cover. And this is book 1 of the Dark Passages. She also wrote Ashes, Shadows, I think it is, and Monsters, that trilogy, which I haven't read. And she also wrote a contemporary book called Drowning Instinct, which I do have on my shelf, but I haven't read. But yeah, I'm really intrigued by this. I have no idea when I'll pick it up, but the whole premise of it sounds very interesting, and it's a shame, I think, that it's already had so many bad reviews, because that is a little off-putting, but I want to reserve judgment and actually read it for myself. So that's all that I have for this haul, guys. If you've read any of these books, let me know what you thought of them in the comments below, or if any of these particularly appeal to you, let me know. I always like to know. And thanks so much for watching, guys, and happy reading.